Thanks. Well, good morning. My name is Crystal Barano, and I am one of the 3 co-founders of Pensacola Children's Business Fair, Inc. And this is Jennifer Fernandez. We are your local chapter of the Acton Academy Children's Business Fair. Actually, we're Pensacola, but it's a national organization that's the largest entrepreneurial event for kids. Let's see. Let's kind of start off with our why we decided to get started. One of the problems is the World Economic Forum estimates that about 65% of children today will end up in a career that does not exist yet. That kind of makes us a little nervous, and makes some parents uncomfortable. But to us, it kind of excited us as parents. You can see some of our kidpreneurs here. Jojo and Julia with Lollipop and Waffles, and we're going to bring some more out in August. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Thank you. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. So kind of as a parent, it's our duty to kind of bring the best that we can for our children, kind of prepare them for the real world, building some of these soft skills that you may not necessarily, this is the actual career you need to go to. But the great thing about entrepreneurship is that there are a lot of these soft skills that you can learn that can be applied to any profession. And so by the time when they're adults, we hopefully get to prepare them better. So why entrepreneurship at an early age? We have these 4 pillars that we think helps them develop creativity, communication skills, resiliency, and financial literacy, and as a result, self-confidence. So why creativity? It's the idea. We've got Kodako with Nice Light Rice. She is 7 years old. As an entrepreneur, you're constantly faced with problems that require creative solutions. So, for example, she decided to do a business for mochi. Maybe not everybody, America knows what that food product is. And one of the business mentors of the day, suggested to her as while this is a very highly specific Asian, delicacy of the dessert, maybe the people who are attending your fair that day may not necessarily know what it is. So maybe come up with a different flavor besides matcha green tea, which I am obsessed with, and many of my foodie friends are. But maybe your average 5-year-old or 8-year-old may in Pensacola hasn't been familiar with this. So she ended up creating a new strawberry cloud flavor based on this feedback, which instead of the red bean paste that you see so often in Asian markets, it's just strawberry jelly preserves, and then more of a neutral flavor on top, as opposed to something like taro, something that maybe most people aren't familiar with. So why communication skills? It helps to teach. Just like what you guys do, it teaches negotiation, sales. These are skills that we use almost everything that we do. This little boy here, Preston, he's with Creep Store Comics. You wouldn't have known just meeting him that his business turned out to be one of the most popular booths there. He's very quiet, very shy, very, very introverted. He was, I'm attached to my mic, just kidding. And he was afraid that no one would enjoy his artwork. And also, it didn't help that he was placed right next to the DJ. And so you've got this really soft-spoken boy who's just a little bit more shy. And you've got, DJ Dad blasting music, And the mom even asked, do you mind, if no one's having an issue, don't worry about turning it down. But do you mind turning it a little bit? No one else had an issue. It was just his personality. That was his natural tendency. But he ended up talking, he set up his booth. People were coming to his booth because he opened up and he blossomed, and he talked to them one-on-one. And he ended up having a really good product. Adults, children actually bought these comics, reading them, and found it hilarious. Why resiliency? You know, we have, I'm not sure if you guys may have recognized Davey with the business I Am. He's 11 years old. In the 3rd grade, he was bullied, and he decided to turn that negative experience into a positive one. So instead of maybe like moping around or, you know, maybe taking up some other negative activity, he actually turned it into just part of his business plan. And so anyway, so he turned it into his youth-aimed motivational apparel company where they have inspirational quotes after the word I am. So it's really branded. It's like I am strong, or I am innovative, I am ambitious, and beautiful, right? And his booth just blew, and also his price point during the booth, during the day off, was also very reasonable too, about $8 shirts, and just did a great job. So it's a great example of turning lemons into lemonade. Why financial literacy? Well, I mean, as you kind of know, we've got 1 in 3 Americans have little to no savings saved up. And we've got like students in hundreds of millions of dollars in debt collectively. So starting them kind of young, we want to do a lot of hands-on learning, taking less of an academic approach, but just making sure you have that conversation with your grown-up, your parents. So we've got Lollipop and Waffles by Julie, age 6. This is after the fair, mind you. She said the one thing I hope to learn this summer is to save and to spend money wisely. And that, as a parent, you know, it's Jennifer's children actually, it makes you feel really good, because when we all have kind of different ways of handling money and having a different respect for money, but to get those saving habits started early on really helps too. Also, a few more stats, like 10% of students are taught money matters. The scary thing is Cambridge University did a study that money habits are formed by the age of 7. So we really want to kind of start that young. It's not too late, but why not go and have that conversation early on? Another thing is, like, before any of the kids can apply, they have to, the application process, they have to submit what their startup costs are. How are they going to pay that back? What are they going to do with, how do they determine how their business is successful? So getting to break down the expenses, they have to, they already gets that conversation going at an earlier age. Or what? So we are a local nonprofit organization focused on fostering the next generation of business leaders. It's a unique one-day event, marketplace, where kids have developed maybe months in advance their product, building marketing strategies, and and then they showcase the day of. In this case, we had our event on May 18th, which is a little less, right about 2 weeks ago. Some of the things they've had to learn along the way through this hands-on approach is developing their own brand, building a marketing strategy, utilizing communication skills, all while interacting with potential customers. So we are more than just a fair. So while one of the problems that we found is that we want an outlet for our kids to also experience entrepreneurship, but you know, we have the amazing programs out there locally that just didn't exist, or maybe our kids were too young, or it was a very formal and rigid, like, educational system, classes from, you know, a whole commitment from beginning, you know, maybe for a whole school year. And so we wanted to the great thing about Acton Academy is that we believe in that kids learn best just by doing, right? And so, however, we do understand that just like in adults, just like professionals, there are some skills that we do want to brush up on. And so, with the most recent fair, we did a meet and greet photo shoot where the students got to work with a professional photographer and get professional headshots and prototypes, shots made of their products so they can use in their own marketing purposes. We also understand that being an entrepreneur can be a little lonely at times, especially if you're a kid entrepreneur and you have parents and you necessarily have that experience. You maybe want like a place to kind of bounce ideas off, so we created a private vendor support forum on Facebook, and here we've got tips from here are 14 tips, to prepare you for your first fair. It's just a guideline. It's not saying you have to do this, but it's there, and then that way they can bounce ideas off and like, hey, what worked, what didn't. And also during our launch party, all of our kids, we make it mandatory that at least attend about like 1 month prior to hand, just so they can scope out the venue space, to see what's expected of them and any other kind of there's Jim right there. To discuss any additional business tips. So we actually learned a lot just growing this nonprofit, that there were food vendor laws. So we had someone from UF do a cottage law presentation. So if they wanted to take that business further, they could actually sell it at Palafox Market, which we will get into. We have like some mentors of the evening, like Jim was there, and also Small Business Development Center, Kevin Peterson, talking with the kids, some of the older kids one-on-one, seeing how they bring their business a little further, bringing actual real world, actual practicing professionals into the fold. And finally, immediately after the fair, we wanted to do a financial literacy workshop. It was presented by one of our sponsors, the Wingadoos, so that way the kids know what to do with their new hardware money. I mean, this was like right after the fair. There might be tired, but they stuck through it in this Florida heat. And they learned a little bit more what they can do post-fair. Also, during the actual fair of itself, there are other fairs that can do a competition like Startup Weekend, and that's great. But we figured since these are kids, honestly, you're going to naturally see who are the winners, and winning by which product. We can see which booths are doing better than others, and why. Is it their soft skills? Is it their price point? Is it their personality? But we wanted to bring in some diverse mentors, business professionals, to give them some advice during the day of, and so they can see their booth in action. It's like, hey, how do we, maybe we can rearrange this, or what do you consider a success for the business? And then we've got some results from our first fair. They're kind of fun to share. Within 2.5 weeks, we thought maybe we'll just look for 10 booths, maybe 10 businesses. Then we're like, well, the venue space can fit maybe 30, maybe 40. Within 2.5 weeks, through word of mouth only, we filled up all applications, all 40 spots, just like that. We had to close it up. In fact, I literally went to bed and I woke up and it was like flooding over, and I felt so bad having to put these like extra 15, 20 kids on a wait list that I already submitted. So the need is there. And so we had a tremendous amount of elementary school, several high school and middle school, but within the first fair, we had like 1,000 in attendance. And within 2 months, we had just people marked more than 2,000 people marked interested or attending the fair. And we're like, we did not expect, we just wanted 10 kids. We just wanted like an outlet for our kids to make a little side money and learn all these, contextual things through business. We've had so many different kinds of businesses, ranging from slime to art to food to lemonade, your classic lemonade stand, inspirational apparel companies. We even have kids who've literally built their own cedar boxes, planter boxes, and sold them and made so much money. They ended up they cleared their startup costs, and they cleared all their startup costs and paid off like their miter saw. And these are like 5, 8, and 11 years old. This trio are like homeschool brothers. And about 30% came from Northwest Florida homeschoolers too. So these are just some of the examples of some of the schools that reached out. Again, this was strictly word of mouth marketing. We did not promote through advertising, or we just had some talk, and still yet we've had a variety of people all over Escambia County, even all the way to Fort Walton Beach High School. So I'm going to bring it to Jennifer.
Our future and how you can help. Our future really depends on our community. Right now we're trying to build local partnerships with and sponsorships with local entrepreneurs in our community and corporate. The more sponsorships we have, the more kids we can help. Right now we have 40, and the next fair that we want to host, we don't want to let go of those 40. We want to have the 40 plus, and hopefully an additional 40 plus. It just depends on what we can come up with and raise. We want to keep it the same standards. Every kid left our fair with a goodie bag, with one of our how to build $1 million for one of our sponsors, and all these workshops that we have planned in the future. So that's one of our largest concerns, is that's how we're going to grow, that's how the kids are going to grow. I don't know, do questions, I guess?
Yeah. So, yes.
I don't have a question. Actually, not every kid left with the goodie bag, every business left with the goodie bag.
Yes. That's right. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, Patrick? Yes. Yes.
So for that lady's business, may I ask which teammate got the bag? Or were they shared?
They shared.
Yeah.
Business partners, profits and everything shared.
Yeah, this was one of our sponsors from BizKids. We reached out to them, and they donated 40 books. So we had to just do it for each business. So maybe the next one.
For us to grow, we're looking for partnerships, not only in sponsorships, but partnerships. Like this week we met with the Palafox Market. So the Palafox Market is opening to sponsor our youth, which is good because a lot of the festivals and events we have around town cost money. Just to do the seafood festival as a vendor costs us $1,000. Our youth can't afford that. And even just Palafox, there's a commitment to go every single week and a cost. But they're going to let us rotate 2 vendors each week, and we can rotate out each week because most kids can't commit every single week. So they're covering that cost for these kids to come for free to their outlet, their business, to get the experience with the cash, with the people, and following rules. There's no separate rules for the youth. She's going to print out the rules, the welcome package for each